The message came on a Tuesday. Dr. Lisa Murray was halfway through her coffee when the computers at the Arecibo facility started going crazy. At first, she thought it was a malfunction. The pattern was too regular, too perfect to be natural. But it wasn't coming from Earth. "Someone get me the frequency analysis now," she called out to her team. The room filled with nervous energy as scientists rushed between monitoring stations. Lisa stared at the screens, her heart beating faster. After 15 years of scanning the stars for signs of intelligent life, they had found something. Or rather, something had found them. Alan Peters, her assistant, handed her a printout with shaking hands. "It's definitely artificial, Dr. Murray. The signal contains mathematical sequences that couldn't occur naturally." 3 days later, they had their first breakthrough. The message contained visual data, images that, when assembled correctly, formed alien text alongside a translation key. The aliens, whoever they were, wanted to communicate. Within 2 weeks, Lisa and her team had figured out enough to understand the basics. The message came from something called the Galactic Council, a group of 47 different alien species who had formed a political alliance, and they were inviting Earth to send representatives to their next assembly. The world went into overdrive. News channels broadcast nothing else. Politicians argued over who should go. Scientists debated the technology needed to make the journey. The message had included coordinates, a star system about 10 light years away. In a rare show of unity, the United Nations formed a special committee. Ambassador Daniel Collins was selected to lead the diplomatic team. He had negotiated peace in 3 major global conflicts and spoke 7 languages. Not that any of those languages would help with aliens, but his ability to understand different cultures might. "We need a ship," Daniel said in the first planning meeting. "One that can travel faster than light." The top engineers of every major nation gathered. For years, theoretical physicists had been working on warp drive concepts using exotic matter. Now they had a deadline and unlimited funding. What might have taken decades happened in months. On a clear morning in March 2088, Lisa Murray watched as the newly built U.S. Pathfinder underwent its final checks. The sleek silver vessel stood taller than a skyscraper, its surface reflecting the sunrise. She still couldn't believe she had been selected as part of the delegation. "Nervous?" asked Dr. Olivia Wright, the cultural specialist, as they waited for boarding. "Terrified," Lisa admitted. "We're going to be the first humans to meet aliens. What if we mess up?" Olivia smiled. "That's why they're sending a team, not just one person. Between your science, my cultural analysis, Captain Reed's military experience, and Ambassador Collins' diplomacy, we cover all bases." The final weeks before launch were a blur of preparation. The team studied the Council's message for any clues about alien culture. They packed examples of human art, music, and literature. They debated what gifts would be appropriate. They practiced first contact scenarios. The night before launch, Daniel Collins couldn't sleep. He stood at the observation window of the Space Center, looking up at the stars. Somewhere out there, 47 different species were waiting to judge humanity. Would they see Earth as a partner, a threat, a curiosity, a joke? 6 months, he whispered to himself. The Council's invitation had specified that their assembly would begin in 6 months. The Pathfinder's experimental drive should get them there just in time. As dawn broke over the launch pad, 8 humans prepared to make history. The crew took their positions. Final checks were completed. The countdown began. Captain Nicholas Reed's voice came over the comms. "All systems go. Preparing for launch." Ambassador Collins took one last look at Earth through the view screen. Whatever awaited them among the stars, humanity was about to take its first real step into the galactic community. The engines ignited. The Pathfinder rose. Humanity was on its way to the stars. The Pathfinder slowed as it approached the massive space station. Through the main viewport, the human crew stared in wonder. The station was shaped like a giant wheel with spokes connecting to a central hub. Lights of every color blinked across its surface. Ships of strange designs moved in and out of docking bays. "It's bigger than Manhattan," whispered Dr. Lisa Murray. Captain Nicholas Reed guided the ship toward their assigned dock. His hands were steady, but beads of sweat formed on his forehead. One wrong move could be seen as clumsy or rude. First impressions mattered. "Docking successful," he announced after the ship locked into place with a soft thud. Ambassador Daniel Collins straightened his tie. "Remember the plan. We stay together. We speak only when spoken to until we understand the protocols. We show respect at all times." The team nodded. They had practiced for months, but nothing could truly prepare them for this moment. A soft hiss filled the air as the airlock opened. The smell hit them first, a mix of strange scents that made Dr. Olivia Wright sneeze. Then came the sight of their greeting party. 3 aliens waited for them. The tallest had blue skin stretched over a thin frame and 4 arms. Beside it stood a creature covered in short fur with a face that reminded Lisa of an owl. The third was short and stocky with skin like rough bark. "Welcome, Earth delegation," said the blue alien in perfect English. "I am Greeter Zal. I will escort you to the council chamber." The humans followed Zal through curved hallways, filled with more aliens than they could count. Some walked on 2 legs, others on 4 or 6. Some floated. Some rolled. All turned to stare at the humans. "They're looking at us like we're zoo animals," Dr. Samuel Johnson whispered. Zal led them to a massive door carved with symbols from dozens of languages. "The council awaits. When your name is called, step forward and bow." The doors swung open to reveal a circular room with rising tiers of seats. Hundreds of aliens sat watching as the humans entered. A large being with tentacles and glowing spots sat at the highest point. "Grand Minister Sultan," Zal announced, "I present the delegation from Earth." The room fell silent. Then a sound spread through the chamber. It started as a few short bursts of air and grew into what could only be described as laughter. "These are the humans," a voice called out. "They look so fragile. Their ship is practically an antique." Another voice added. Daniel stepped forward despite the mockery. "Honorable Council, we come in peace as representatives of Earth." A tall, reptilian alien stood from its seat. "I am Councilor Thraz of the Vizric Empire. Why should we waste our time on a species that has barely left its gravity well? They have no valuable technology. Their art forms are primitive. Their military power is laughable." More laughter rippled through the chamber. The Grand Minister raised a tentacle for silence. "Ambassador Collins, Earth has been granted provisional observer status only. You may watch our proceedings but not participate in votes. The Council will consider your application for full membership in 1 standard year." Daniel's face remained professional, but Lissa could see the disappointment in his eyes. Furthermore, the minister continued, "Due to space limitations, your delegation will be housed in Section 47B. Greeter Zal guided them back out. Once they were in the hallway, Captain Reed asked, "Where is Section 47B?" "The maintenance level," Zal replied, looking uncomfortable. "It is not where honored guests usually stay." Their quarters turned out to be little more than a storage room with cots hastily set up. The walls hummed with machinery. The air smelled of oil. "So this is how it's going to be," Dr. Wright said, setting down her bag. "They invite us across the stars just to laugh at us." Daniel paced the small room. "This isn't over. They've underestimated us, and that might be our advantage. We need to learn everything we can about how this council works." Lisa nodded. "If they judge by technology, art, and military power, we need to find our strength." "We will," Daniel promised. "They laughed today, but they won't be laughing when we're done." The next morning, Ambassador Daniel Collins gathered the team in their cramped quarters. Their faces showed a mix of anger and determination after yesterday's humiliation. "We need to split up and learn everything we can," Daniel said. "Dr. Wright, find out about their social structures. Captain Reed, study their military attitudes. Dr. Johnson, Focus on biology and technology. Dr. Murray, work with Lieutenant Martinez on communications. We meet back here each night to share what we've learned. They nodded and headed out to explore the station. The corridors bustled with aliens of all shapes and sizes, most ignoring the humans as they passed. Dr. Olivia Wright found her way to what seemed like a public gathering space. Aliens sat at tables, eating strange foods and talking. She took a deep breath and approached a table where several different species sat together. "May I join you?" she asked politely. The aliens looked surprised but moved to make room. One that looked like a large insect spoke in a clicking voice that her translator turned into words. "You are from Earth." "The new ones." Olivia nodded. "I'm trying to learn about council culture. What determines status here?" The aliens exchanged glances. A blue-skinned being answered. "Technology, of course. Art. Scientific advancement. How else would one judge civilization?" Meanwhile, Captain Nicholas Reed visited the station's security section. The guards there were mostly large armored beings. One of them, a rocky-skinned alien named Grax, seemed willing to talk. "Your species fights wars?" Grax asked, examining Reed's uniform. "We have," Nick admitted, "though we try to avoid them now." Grax made a rumbling sound that might have been a laugh. "Combat skill is respected here, but seen as primitive. The highest species rarely fight their own battles anymore. They create art and technology while others do the fighting." Across the station, Dr. Samuel Johnson discovered something interesting in the medical bay. An alien doctor was examining him with curiosity. "Your adaptability is unusual," the doctor said, waving a scanner over Sam's arm. "Most species are specialized for their home environments. Humans seem highly flexible. We evolved to survive in many different conditions," Sam explained. "And your senses," the doctor continued. "The range you can hear, see, smell, very broad compared to many council species." Back in the diplomatic sector, Daniel Collins had found possibly their first ally. A slender alien with feathery skin had approached him after noticing his Earth insignia. "Ambassador, I am Vareen of the Killary people. We were once new to the council too. Perhaps I can help you understand some unwritten rules." Daniel gratefully accepted, and they found a quiet place to talk. "The council debates are not just about facts and logic," Vareen explained. "Cultural performances often influence voting. Species showcase their arts during important sessions." "Performances? Like entertainment?" Daniel asked, confused. "More than entertainment, it demonstrates cultural sophistication. Some of the most important council decisions were swayed by particularly moving performances." When the team reunited that evening, they shared their discoveries. Lisa Murray and Lieutenant Kelly Martinez had learned something crucial too. "There's a vote scheduled for next week," Lisa reported. "They're deciding on restricted zones for trade routes. Earth is included in the restricted category because we're considered primitive. If that passes," Martinez added, "we'll be cut off from the main galactic commerce. We'll never catch up technologically." Daniel paced the room, thinking over everything they'd learned. So the council values technology, art, and science. They look down on military solutions. They make decisions partly based on cultural performances, and they're about to vote on something that could hurt Earth for decades to come. "What can we do?" asked Dr. Wright. "We can't suddenly produce advanced technology." "No," Daniel said slowly. "But Vareen said cultural performances influence votes. That might be our way in." Sam Johnson nodded thoughtfully. "The doctor mentioned our senses are different from many species here. Maybe that gives us an advantage." "What do humans have that might impress them?" Captain Reed wondered. They all fell silent, considering the question. Then Lieutenant Martinez spoke up. "What about music? Earth has so many musical traditions. Music crosses cultural boundaries. It tells stories without words." Daniel's face lit up with the first real hope since they'd arrived. "That's brilliant, Kelly. We need to look into this right away. The human team gathered around the small table in their maintenance-level quarters. Excitement filled the air as they discussed Lieutenant Kelly Martinez's idea about using music to impress the council. Music is something we're good at, Kelly explained. Every human culture has music. We express so much through it. Ambassador Daniel Collins nodded slowly. But will aliens appreciate human music? Their hearing might be completely different from ours. Dr. Samuel Johnson pulled out his tablet and brought up the scans he had taken in the medical bay. You're right, Daniel. Most council species hear different frequency ranges than humans. Some hear much higher, some much lower, and some perceive sound in ways we can't imagine. Lisa Murray frowned. So music won't work either. I didn't say that, Sam replied with a small smile. I said they hear differently. If we could translate our music into frequencies they can appreciate. Kelly snapped her fingers. That's it. We need a translation device for music, just like we have for language. The team spent the next 2 days in their quarters working on the problem. Sam and Kelly led the effort, using the ship's equipment to build a prototype. Lisa helped with the mathematical conversions between different frequency ranges. If we analyze each species' hearing range, Lisa said, we can adjust our music to hit their equivalent of what sounds good to us. While they worked, Captain Nicholas Reed approached Vereen, their Kellari friend, with a question. Is there any way we could get a spot in a council session to demonstrate our culture? He asked. Vereen's feathery skin rippled in what Nick had learned was their version of thoughtfulness. The minor sessions sometimes include cultural exchanges from new members. I could perhaps arrange something, but it would not be well attended. That's better than nothing, Nick replied. Thank you. Back in their quarters, the team gathered for a strategy meeting. Ambassador Collins wrote their options on a small board. We need to decide what music to present, he said. What represents Earth best? Classical music shows sophistication, suggested Dr. Olivia Wright. Bach, Mozart, Beethoven. Rock and roll shows our energy and passion, countered Kelly. Or jazz shows our creativity and improvisation. What about folk songs from around the world? Lisa added, they tell our cultural stories. The debate continued for hours. Each person argued for different musical traditions, all valid, all uniquely human. Wait, Daniel finally said. We're thinking too narrowly. The council represents many species with one voice. Why can't we show the breadth of human music in one presentation? Sam nodded excitedly. We could start with classical to show sophistication, move to jazz to show improvisation, add in some folk elements to show our cultural depth, and end with something powerful that combines elements of all of them, Kelly finished. Something that will make them feel something, even if they're not human. With renewed purpose, they spent the next 3 days preparing. Sam and Kelly refined the frequency translation device. Lisa and Olivia selected music samples. Daniel and Nick worked on getting them the best possible spot in the council schedule. When Nick returned from his meeting with Vereen, his face showed mixed emotions. Good news and bad news, he said. The good news is we have a spot in tomorrow's minor session. The bad news is we only get 5 minutes. 5 minutes. Olivia looked dismayed. We can't show the full range of human music in 5 minutes. We'll have to make every second count, Daniel replied firmly. This is our chance to show them humans aren't just primitives. We need to make such an impression that they'll want to hear more. There's one more problem, Sam added. Our device works, but it's limited. We can only translate into about 5 different frequency ranges at once. The council has 47 species. Then we target the 5 most influential species, Daniel decided. Vereen can tell us which ones matter most for the upcoming trade route vote. As night fell on the station, the human team worked feverishly to prepare. This might be their only chance to change minds before the vote that could cut Earth off from galactic trade. Kelly sat back from the device she was calibrating and looked at her teammates. If this works, they might stop laughing at us. And if it doesn't? Lisa asked quietly. Daniel answered with determination in his voice. Then we try something else. Humans don't give up easily. The day of the minor council session arrived. The human team walked through the station corridors carrying their equipment. Lieutenant Kelly Martinez led the way, trying to hide her nervousness. The translation device was strapped to her back, with 5 small speakers attached to it. "Remember," Ambassador Daniel Collins whispered as they approached the chamber, "we need to impress at least a few influential delegates. We don't need to win over everyone today." The minor session chamber was much smaller than the main council hall. Only about 30 aliens were present, sitting in curved rows facing a small central platform. Vereen met them at the entrance. "You are the 3rd presentation today. Each group gets 5 minutes exactly. The yellow light means 1 minute remaining. The red light means stop immediately." "Who's here that matters?" Dr. Olivia Wright asked quietly. Vereen pointed discreetly to various delegates. "The blue one with the crystal staff is an advisor to the Grand Minister. The tall one with 4 eyes chairs the Trade Committee. The floating orb represents 3 mining worlds." Daniel nodded. "Perfect. Those are exactly the ones we need to impress." When their turn came, Kelly stepped onto the platform while the others stayed back. She wore a simple black outfit with Earth's flag on the shoulder. The translation device hummed softly on her back. "Respected delegates," she began, her voice steady despite her racing heart. "I am Lieutenant Kelly Martinez of Earth. I would like to share with you one of humanity's oldest art forms, music." A few delegates looked bored. One was checking something on a device. No one seemed particularly interested. Kelly took a deep breath and pressed the button on her wrist control. The translation device activated, and she began to play a modified version of Beethoven's Ninth Symphony. The sound that filled the chamber was like nothing the humans had ever heard. It wasn't exactly Beethoven anymore. The frequency translation made it sound alien even to them, but they could still feel the power and emotion in it. At first, nothing happened. Then, slowly, delegates began to pay attention. The blue advisor stopped writing notes. The 4-eyed trade chair tilted its head. The floating orb moved closer to the platform. Kelly closed her eyes and let the music flow through her. The translation device adjusted in real time, sending different frequencies to different parts of the room based on who was sitting where. When the yellow warning light flashed, Kelly transitioned to the final movement. The powerful crescendo built up, translated into 5 different frequency patterns simultaneously. As the last notes faded, the red light came on. Kelly bowed slightly and stepped off the platform. The chamber was completely silent. Then the blue advisor made a sound. The translator couldn't catch it, but Vereen whispered, "That's a sign of approval." The team left the chamber, unsure if they had succeeded. Back in their quarters, they discussed what had happened. "It's hard to tell if they liked it," Lisa Murray said. "They didn't laugh at us, at least." Vereen said the blue advisor showed approval. Nick Reed pointed out, "That's something." Before they could discuss further, there was a sound at their door. Vereen entered, looking excited in their alien way. "Your presentation has caused interest," Vereen said. "Several delegates have been asking about human music. The Grand Minister's advisor mentioned it specifically." Hope sparked in Daniel's eyes. "Does that mean we might get another chance to present?" "Possibly," Vereen replied. "There is a rumor that you might be granted 5 minutes at the next full council session." The humans looked at each other in amazement. The full council would mean hundreds of delegates, including all the most important decision-makers. 5 minutes at the full session, Daniel whispered. "That could change everything." "But we need something more impressive," Kelly said. "Something that will truly show what humans can do." Sam Johnson nodded thoughtfully. The device worked, but it was limited. With more time, I might be able to expand it to handle more frequency ranges. "And we need more than just one piece of music," Olivia added. "We need to show the full range of human creativity." Daniel paced the small room, thinking hard. "We have 3 days until the full session." "That's not much time." "It's enough," Kelly said firmly. If we work together, it's enough. Outside their door, unseen by the humans, two alien delegates listened with interest. One turned to the other and spoke softly. Perhaps these humans are more interesting than we thought. Lieutenant Kelly Martinez couldn't sleep. She sat in the corner of their quarters while the others rested, staring at the music files on her tablet. The small success at the minor session had given them hope, but 5 minutes at the full council would be their real chance. They needed something perfect. Can't sleep either? Dr. Lisa Murray asked, sitting up on her cot. Kelly shook her head. I keep thinking about what music to choose. Beethoven got their attention, but we need something more. Lisa moved over to sit beside her. What if we don't just pick one type of music? What if we create something new? Kelly's eyes widened. A mashup. Different Earth styles combined. More than that, Lisa said, growing excited. What if we create a piece that tells the story of human music? From our earliest drums to our most complex modern compositions. By morning, Kelly and Lisa had outlined their idea to the team. Ambassador Daniel Collins nodded with approval as they explained. A musical journey through human history, he summarized. I like it, but can we make it work in just 5 minutes? Dr. Samuel Johnson was already working on the translation device. I've been modifying our system. We can now handle 12 different frequency ranges instead of 5. That covers the most common hearing types in the council. We need more musicians, Kelly said. I can't perform this alone. Captain Nicholas Reed raised his hand. I played guitar in college. I can sing, Dr. Wright offered. And I know the basics of percussion, Lisa added. That's a start, Kelly said. But we need more. What about the rest of the Pathfinder crew? They sent messages to the ship, asking for anyone with musical talent. Soon, they had a list of 7 crew members who could play various instruments. For the next 2 days, they worked non-stop. Sam expanded the translation device with parts scavenged from the ship. Kelly arranged music that would showcase human creativity while appealing to alien sensibilities. The others practiced their parts whenever they weren't helping with preparations. On the night before the full council session, Vereen visited them again. The alien seemed impressed by their dedication. The Grand Minister has confirmed your 5-minute slot, Vereen announced. But there is something you should know. Counselor Thraz has been telling others that your music at the minor session was a trick. A trick? Daniel frowned. How could music be a trick? He claims you used mind-influencing frequencies to make delegates feel interest. Vereen's feathery skin rippled with concern. Some believe him. This news worried the team, but they were too committed to turn back now. They practiced late into the night, refining every second of their precious 5 minutes. On the morning of the full council session, the human musicians gathered in a small room near the main chamber. They wore matching outfits with Earth's flag and symbols of various human cultures sewn onto the sleeves. Captain Reed returned from scouting the chamber, his face serious. It's packed. Every seat is filled, and there are delegates standing along the walls. Are they here to see us fail? Lisa wondered. Maybe, Daniel admitted, but that means they're paying attention. And attention is what we need. Kelly checked the translation device one final time. Sam had built it into a small platform they would all stand on, with speakers positioned to target different sections of the audience. Ready? Kelly asked the group. The human musicians nodded, their faces showing a mix of fear and determination. Remember, Daniel said quietly, we're not just playing for ourselves. We're playing for Earth, for every human back home who's counting on us to show the galaxy what we can do. As they walked toward the council chamber, they passed Counselor Thraz in the hallway. The reptilian alien looked down at them with disdain. Enjoy your moment in the spotlight, humans, he hissed. It will be your last. Kelly squared her shoulders and kept walking. In her mind, she could hear the music they were about to play. The heartbeat of humanity, translated into frequencies that would reach across the barriers of biology and culture to touch alien hearts. They had one chance to change minds. 5 minutes to prove Earth belonged among the stars. The main council chamber was massive. Curved rows of seats rose high above the central platform. Hundreds of aliens from dozens of species filled the room. The noise level dropped as the humans entered, carrying their instruments and equipment. Ambassador Daniel Collins led the way, his face calm despite his racing heart. The human musicians followed, setting up their equipment on the platform. Lieutenant Kelly Martinez directed them, placing each person carefully on the special floor panels Sam had designed to transmit the correct frequencies to different parts of the audience. Grand Minister Sultan's voice boomed through the chamber. The council recognizes the delegation from Earth for their cultural presentation. You have 5 minutes. Before Daniel could speak, Councillor Thraz stood up. I must object. The humans use sound to influence minds. Their previous performance used tricks to gain favor. Murmurs spread through the chamber. Some delegates looked concerned, others curious. The humans exchanged worried glances. The Grand Minister's tentacles waved for silence. The objection is noted. However, the Council has agreed to this presentation. It will proceed. He turned to Daniel. Ambassador, you may begin. But be warned that any attempt at manipulation will end your presentation immediately. Daniel stepped forward, speaking clearly. Honored Council, we offer you a journey through human music. We have translated the frequencies to match your hearing ranges so you may experience what we experience. There are no tricks here, only art. He stepped back, nodding to Kelly. She took a deep breath and raised her hands. The human musicians readied their instruments. Kelly brought her hands down, and they began. The music started with simple drums, imitating the oldest human music. Slow, steady beats that echoed the human heartbeat. Then came simple melodies on flute-like instruments, representing early human songs. The translation platform hummed beneath them, converting each sound into 12 different frequency patterns that spread throughout the chamber. The team had carefully programmed it to match each council species' hearing range. After the ancient music came selections from classical composers. The rich, complex patterns filled the chamber. Kelly watched the delegates closely. Some were sitting straighter, their attention fully on the humans now. They transitioned to jazz, with its improvisational style showing human creativity. The bassist stepped forward, playing a solo that the translation system sent rippling through the chamber in waves of sound that even the humans could feel more than hear. 4 minutes had passed. The yellow warning light flashed. Kelly signaled the final section. All the musicians joined together in a powerful piece they had created just for this moment. It combined elements from all Earth's musical traditions into something new, a harmony of human expression. The music built toward its final climax. Kelly poured all her emotion into directing the performance. This wasn't just about impressing aliens anymore. This was about showing who humans truly were. As the last notes faded, the red light came on. The humans stood still, breathing hard from the intensity of their performance. The council chamber was completely silent. Then something unexpected happened. A delegate near the front, one of the floating orbs Vereen had pointed out, rose slightly in the air. It began to emit a soft, pulsing light. Another delegate, a tall being with 4 arms, stood and made a sound that the translators couldn't catch. Then another stood, and another. Soon, dozens of delegates were on their feet. Some made sounds, others displayed lights or colors or movements that the humans didn't understand. Vereen hurried to Daniel's side. They're giving you the highest form of approval. The alien whispered urgently. This has never happened for a provisional species before. Even Grand Minister Sultan's tentacles were glowing with bright patterns. Only Councillor Thraz remained seated, his reptilian features frozen in disbelief. Ambassador Collins looked at his team, his eyes shining with pride and amazement. They had done more than avoid humiliation. They had accomplished something unprecedented. The humans stood together on the platform, witnesses to a moment that would change Earth's place in the galaxy forever. 3 days after their musical performance, the human team stood in the main council chamber again. This time, they were not there to perform, but to hear the council's vote on Earth's status. The chamber was even more crowded than before, with delegates packed into every available space. Ambassador Daniel Collins stood tall, flanked by his team. Lieutenant Kelly Martinez fidgeted nervously beside him, while Dr. Lisa Murray and Dr. Samuel Johnson exchanged hopeful glances. Captain Nicholas Reed and Dr. Olivia Wright completed the line, all of them dressed in their best uniforms. Grand Minister Sultan's voice filled the chamber. The Council will now vote on Resolution 7293, regarding the status of Earth in the galactic community. The voting process was quick but tense. Each delegate indicated their choice through their personal consoles. A large holographic display in the center of the chamber showed the numbers changing in real time. Vereen stood near the humans, translating what was happening. The green numbers are votes in favor of full membership. The red are against. The green numbers climbed steadily. The red barely moved. When the final count appeared, there was a moment of silence. By a vote of 412 to 35, announced the Grand Minister, Earth is granted full membership in the Galactic Council, with all rights and responsibilities thereof. The chamber erupted in sounds and lights that the translators interpreted as applause. Daniel turned to his team, his face breaking into a smile. "We did it," he said simply. What followed was a whirlwind of activity. The humans were escorted to their new permanent embassy on the upper levels of the station, a spacious suite of rooms with large windows overlooking the stars. Earth's flag was officially placed in the council chamber alongside those of the 47 other member species. Even Councillor Thraz had to acknowledge their achievement, though he did so grudgingly. The reptilian alien approached Daniel during the celebration. "Your species has unexpected qualities," Thraz admitted. "Your musical arts are surprisingly sophisticated. Perhaps I judged too quickly." Daniel accepted the half-apology with grace. "We all have things to learn from each other, Counselor." In the days that followed, the humans negotiated Earth's first interstellar trade agreements. With their new status, they secured favorable terms that would protect Earth's developing industries while allowing access to advanced alien technologies. Lieutenant Kelly Martinez was officially appointed as Earth's first cultural attaché to the Council. Her office was flooded with requests from delegates who wanted to learn more about human music and art. "I never thought I'd be an ambassador for Earth's culture," she told Lisa as they unpacked supplies in her new office. "I joined the mission as a communications officer." Lisa smiled. "You communicated better than any of us could have. You spoke a language everyone could understand." A week after the vote, the U.S. Pathfinder prepared to return to Earth. Half the team would stay at the embassy, including Kelly and Daniel. The others would bring the news of their success back home. Captain Reed stood on the bridge, looking at the massive station through the view screen. "When we first arrived, they laughed at us. And now we're full members," Dr. Wright said, shaking her head in amazement. "All because of music." "Not just because of music," Dr. Johnson corrected her. "Because we found our voice. We showed them who humans really are." As the Pathfinder pulled away from the station, its communication system received a final message from Ambassador Collins. "Tell Earth to prepare for visitors," the message read. "The Council has voted to hold the next Galactic Cultural Festival on our planet. Delegations from all 47 species will attend. They want to experience human music in its natural environment." On the bridge, the crew shared looks of pride and wonder. The ship accelerated toward Earth, carrying news that would forever change humanity's place in the universe. Back on the station, Kelly Martinez stood at the window of her new office, watching the Pathfinder disappear into the distance. On her desk sat sheet music for hundreds of Earth compositions, waiting to be shared with alien musicians. A delegation of 12 different species was scheduled to meet with her that afternoon to discuss a collaborative concert. The Council had laughed at Earth until humanity took the mic. Now the whole galaxy was listening.